Okay, so the next project you guys are doing is in Illustrator. It's a geometric, like poly shaped design. What you're going to do is you're going to do a geometric animal. So the geometric animal is going to be created using a bunch of triangles or geometric shapes, which I'll go over more in a minute. So you're going to do file, make a new file. You're going to find a picture of an animal that you want. The example here is the frog. And then you can see how the frog is done here with a whole bunch of triangles. You are going to use the frog, the picture, whatever picture you use, as a tracer, right? Okay. So you're going to be using the colors. You can use the colors from the picture, or you can change the colors. That's up to you. But you're pretty much going to be going over this picture. You're going to put new layers on top of this picture, and you're going to trace sections in triangles or in some kind of geometric shape. So you can see here how the bird is made of all different triangles. The complexity of the design is determined by how big you make the shapes, okay? It's more complex and looks more realistic if you have smaller shapes. If you have bigger shapes like this, it's not as complicated, okay? But the design is not as complex. So the complexity of your design is part of your grade. So you want to keep in mind that. Lauren, Gerard, can you guys look over here, please? Yeah. Now you're forever in my video. Yeah. All right. So you can see here, this bird is subjective color, which means it's not the real colors. So you can most people do triangles, okay? You can see the bird done in triangles here, all triangles, even this part, right? These are all different elongated or short truncated triangles. But here, this was done in rectangles for this part. It was done in different shapes for different parts. That's fine. You don't have to do all triangles. You can adjust your shapes depending on the part of the body that you're doing. For example, the wings here, this person thought it was easier to do longer rectangles and then some triangle shapes over here. And this was rectangles as well, but then as it got to the head, it turned into triangles. And down here, it's triangles as well. So you can mix the shapes, that's fine. Or you could keep them all the same shape. That's your decision as the artist. So you can use realistic coloring as the giraffe here, okay? You can actually eyedrop the colors from the picture if you want to use the same exact colors as the picture, okay? Or you can use, like I said, subjective color. You can kind of decide your own color. It makes it more abstract and poppy if you, like pop arty, if you choose your own colors, okay? But it makes it more realistic if you do the colors from the picture. So like I said, bigger shapes make a more abstract picture. And you could see how this is drawn right on the picture. And you can see the owl is cool. The cat is cool. So if you look at the cat here, the cat is made of, it's very more complex, right? But it looks more realistic. And I think it's definitely cooler than using the big shapes, but a lot of little triangles going in here. But with animals with fur, what I want you guys to keep in mind, I want you to look at the direction that the fur goes in. So here, the fur goes up. So the shapes are going upwards, right? The direction of the shapes are going up. As the fur curves, the shapes are starting to curve out. I want you to notice that. So down here, the shapes are going kind of this way and out, right? This way they're up. And then the nose is just kind of like layered. But that's what I want you to notice. If you choose an animal with fur, that's something you want to keep in mind. If you choose an animal with feathers, it's completely different. So subjective color, right? Not realistic color. You can choose your own colors. But if you do choose your own colors, what I want you to keep in mind is the areas that are darker on the animal right? You're going to use darker shades, okay? And the areas that are lighter on the animal, like where the light hits it, right? You have lighter shades. But you're more than welcome to do your own colors. They actually come out really cool, but just keep that in mind. Like where the highlights are, you want lighter shades of the colors, and where the shadows are, you want darker shades of the colors. The background, you can do an abstract background and pull it all together, or you can just leave like a flat color for the background, which is easier, but obviously you could tell this looks nicer. So you guys got to make the decision there. I accept both. But obviously this is a more complex design than something that would just have a flat background. Okay, computer graphics 2 people. You guys are going to be doing the same thing. You're expanding upon the geometric animal that you did last year, and you're going to be doing a portrait. The portrait does not need to be a self-portrait, but if you are developing a portfolio or you think you might use it in the future, you might want to do a self-portrait, because a self-portrait is something that they all look for in the portfolio, to at least have one, and different kinds of styles. So you're going to work off a picture as well, and you're going to start separating it into geometric shapes. You can see like this is computer graphics 2. Yeah. Yeah, after the alphabet, this is what you're doing. Keep in mind, I am recording this. Oh my God.
A video.
I can't.
She's recording a video so people can see it.
Yes. So if you talk right now, you're on my video.
What's up, guys?
That's not lit.
Okay. So you're going to start off with a picture. You can lay out the shapes first. Keep in mind when you're laying out the shapes, you want each of these shapes to be enclosed like I went over yesterday. Like don't just draw lines, because that's not going to help you fill them. So each shape should start at a place, pull a point, pull a point, pull a point, and end and enclose. That way, this is for both of you guys, computer graphics 1 and computer graphics 2. That way, if you click it, you could just fill it and it'll fill with the color. Okay, don't just draw lines, because that's not gonna let you do what you need to do in order when you get to the color part. Or you could do the color as you go. That's fine as well. So this person did not do the color as they went, but you could see how, the process is. Now, you could do like again, with the geometric animal, you can do realistic color, which is what this is. And you could do abstract color like the last one I showed you. So if you're doing realistic color, you can eye drop right off the picture if you want. Okay? You can just like, oh, what's the shading on the side of the face? Let me eye drop the picture, and then I can just, put it right in there. You could select the shape, eye drop the picture, and then it will put the color right in if you want. Okay, same thing with the animal. So that's like a little bit easier. And you can either keep the outline or you could get rid of the outline. Don't keep some of them with an outline and some of them without an outline, because it looks bad, and I'll tell you to go back and change it, and it's a pain in the butt. So as you go, be conscious whether you want to keep an outline like this or whether I want to go back.
Is that our voice?
No, wait, hold on. Crap. Sorry about that. So remember, the subjective color, you're not eye dropping. You're going to choose like whatever color you want. So this would be subjective color as well. Now in this one, she put the outline to white. Okay, it's not like the shapes are separated, but it gives the look that the shapes are separated. And then in this one, for my computer graphics 2 people only, my computer graphics 1 people, I don't necessarily want to do this yet because it's a little more complicated. My computer graphics 2 people, you may use gradients. So if you see, it gives like a whole other dimension to the picture. You can see the purple, the darker purple goes to the light purple. The darker purple goes to light purple. It gives more shading and more of an effect that it's like real, right? So you guys may do that. And the white outline kind of gives it a look like it's fractured, like it's separating, which is kind of cool. So when you start, You're going to choose a picture and paste it into Illustrator. You're going to have a 16 by 20. Resolution should be 300. Okay, don't worry about Gravit. That was when I did COVID. All right, so you're going to copy and paste this picture into Illustrator. Then right away, you're going to open up a new layer. I suggest you label your layers. You can click on the layer and you can title a label because you're not going to want everything on one layer. Maybe you want the eye on one layer. You want the head on one layer. You want the beak on one layer. You want whatever, because it gets complicated when you're doing this. Because remember, every time you draw something, it makes a sub layer. So you want to keep different layers. But so you see a new layer, and they started with white outlines. So if your animal's darker, I would use white outlines in the beginning so you could see the shapes. If your animal's lighter, I would use black outlines so that there's a contrast over the picture. So this one, it's kind of hard to see the white outlines. This one I might use black until I start filling it in. And as you start filling it in, you can fill in as you go. I don't mind that. These tutorials show you not to. But keep in mind whether you want an outline or whether you don't want an outline. And as you go, you're going to continue drawing the whole thing. You can see the whole thing is drawn here with the pen tool. And when you take off the pen tool, when you take off the picture in the back, you should be able to start seeing the, it come to kind of fruition, right? But when you take, what I would do is on the layer that has the picture, every now and then use the eye on the layer and take it off. So you can just make sure you're not leaving empty spaces. Because one of the things that happens every year with kids, they do their points, right? And they do put their shapes together. And then what happens is when they take the picture off in the back, they realize that there's white spaces, that they didn't totally connect the shapes close enough together. So just make sure you're doing that as you go, because it's going to save you a lot of work later so you don't have to go back. And then as you keep going, you'll see, and that's it. And it's coming to fruition there. So in Illustrator, you're going to do a new file. I have mine preset, 16 by 20, create. And then I'm going to find an image that I want. The image for this doesn't matter if it's pixely, because you're drawing it. You're not using the picture anymore. Whereas in Photoshop, you were using the picture, so the picture needed to be very clear. With this one, you're just using the picture to trace, and then you're getting rid of the picture later. So it doesn't matter. Let's say I do lion. I had a lion example. I'm going to put it up on Classroom for you. You can do the whole body. You could do just the face. I don't care, of the animal. Like,
Wait,
so.
How do we make the thing?
What thing?
The 16 by 20.
File new.
I know.
And then there should be presets there, but if not, you make it 16 by 20. Okay, so let's say I'm doing this picture. I'm going to pull this picture on.
Do we type 16 on width and 20 on height?
Yeah. Okay, I got two now. All right. Once you pull your picture on the canvas, I want you to pull the corners. And in Illustrator, you have to hold the Shift key when you pull the corners to make it nice and big to fit the page. Don't worry if there's white space above and below. You can crop that later. Okay, so what I'm going to do here now in my layers is I'm going to do new layer. Let's say I'm going to start with the nose. So I'm going to title this nose and hit OK. And now I'm going to zoom in on that nose. I'm going to start taking my pen tool and I'm going to choose my color. I'm going to make my color white on this for my outline for now. And I'm going to start drawing shapes. So for example, I might want to start here and make that a shape, but I have to enclose it. And then I'm going to fill as I go. I'm going to take my eyedropper and eyedrop the picture right in the back. And then I have my first shape. And then instead of clicking off, because when I click off on the picture, it's going to go back to the first layer. I like to get in the habit of doing select, deselect. And then my next one, let's say I'm going to make it again a white outline with a no fill. And I'm going to, let's say, do this now. And I'm going to start here and make one here. And then I'm going to eyedrop the color in the back. And now if I take my picture off in the back, how I have my layer 1, if I do that, you start to see the nose shape showing up. And you're just going to continue that process for the whole thing. I'm going to upload this video, and I am going to also upload some samples of previous ones that kids have done so you guys can see.